Welcome back to Jessica's Craft Time. My name is Jessica, and today is our Whip and Chat. It's where I talk about what's been happening during the week. I missed last week's Whip and Chat. We'll explain that why, and I talk a little bit about things that I've been crafting on. But we are in a different location. I'm inside because I've started my big Russia with Love. It's a big canvas, and it's just easier to work on my dining room table. So I thought instead of taking it all out into the garage, we'll try it here. I'll see how I go. The light's not great. Bear with me. I've grabbed my drink because my throat's a little bit itchy today. So my peppermint purple sal. Sorry, I didn't iron it. I should have. The iron's right here. I've all caught up. I've just finished week 15. Is that right? No, yeah, week 15, which is this one here. So we've done these two and these two, so I'm caught up. I did fall behind a little bit, but we're all caught up. It's not ironed, but I'm absolutely loving this. I'm really enjoying doing the black work, because once you get on a roll with the pattern, I find it really relaxing. Like this one, once I got on a roll with it, I didn't need to look at the pattern. I could just keep going. And the same with this one. I did the top row, then I did the middle, and then the bottom row, and I could just keep going with it without having to refer back to my pattern, which was great. So that's my peppermint purple. The other thing, which I don't think I've showed you yet, is my blanket. So this one's been in the making for years, literally years. Don't mind the threads. And all it is just knit, plain knit. And I'm trying to use up all the random bits of wool that I have. So this piece is 60 stitches wide, which is quite wide. And I'm using 2 strands of thread. I think there was actually a section in here that I just completed, somewhere here, that I end up using 3 strands of thread. So I just pick up 2 balls of wool, not thread, yarn. Some of it's natural fibers, other are synthetic, and I just put them together and roll them up until I've got a big ball. Once I get to, in the middle of this is one that hasn't been attached to something, and I'll unravel that when I get to it. So I've been doing a fair bit of this. This is what I keep in the car for school pickup time, because I don't have to think about it. When my ball gets a little bit low, I bring it inside, add some more yarn to it, and put it back in the car. But because I've had my sister here, this was really easy to just do while we were talking on the couch. I didn't have to think about anything, and I could take it wherever I wanted. So that's all I've really done crafty wise, except I've started my Russia with Love. So this is, I'm working on it sideways because it's quite tall. It is, what's the measurements on it? 96 centimeters by 70 centimeters. So it's quite tall, and I find the top is going to be a bit hard. I'm going to have to work all sorts of different ways around it. Once I get probably 3 squares in, I'm going to have to flip it again. I've got it, I don't know if you can see. I've got it here on a pool noodle rolled up, and I like to section my paintings. The reason why I section them, I find that it gives me a little bit more, hang on, I think I've got a delivery coming. It gives me a little bit more satisfaction as I complete a section, and it gives me something to focus on. Once I I section it with washi tape, and then I'll cut this section out, and I've got some release paper I'll put over it. Sometimes I'll work like that. Hang on, I'll just get my delivery. Sorry, hubby's been waiting for a replacement possum trap that he borrowed off his dad and left at his old job. So yeah, then I put the release paper. My sections are not all even. It's randomly where I did it. I've just used washi tape here. And yeah, I'll just peel this back and cut this off. I think I've actually, yeah, I've cut those bits there. So then I just cut the bottom bit and start again. And I like to have a section to work from. I've got everything in my big case. I've got my Shoal Haven Sparklies tray, which I really love because I don't tend to spill my drills as much. You can put your wax in here, but I tend to keep my wax in a little container. I've got my Enablers Outpost pen and a storage container. So I think I just finished a number. Let's bring you down into it and we can chat about what's been happening. So I think you can see most of that there. I do apologize if the lighting goes a little bit funny. The lights above me, the globes keep blowing and I get sick of replacing them, and so I just don't. This Russia with Love has been, I thought it would be a lot more confetti, but there's actually quite large sections of color blocking. If it's not like a big color blocking, it's sort of like this section here that I can still use my multi-placer in it, so I'm not having to use like single place the whole time. The canvas is from Diamond Art Club, which do amazing canvases. They're all poured glue. You can get round or square. I am definitely a square person. I love my squares more than my round. I do rounds, but I definitely prefer to do square. So I've done a few Diamond Art Clubs. The disadvantage is that living in Australia, to get the free shipping, you kind of have to spend over $100 to be worth it, or else your shipping just costs a lot of money. So I like to, you know, stalk it, wait until there's a couple that I like, and then do one big order. The postage time's not too bad coming to Australia. But yeah, so I definitely do like working on my Diamond Art Club, and I try to spread them out. I'll try and do a couple of small ones and then do one of my big Diamond Art Clubs, because they are just a pleasure to work on. I don't find that I need a light pad. Like, it's not even, where I'm working today is not even a really bright spot. I apologize if you can hear the kids outside. I've got the house open because it's been getting a bit stuffy inside, but it's school holidays and the kids next door are outside playing. My child has gone to his grandparents for 3 days. So I got 3 days to catch up on all my videos, get some made ahead, because, you know, life happens. And it's been a bit crazy, these school holidays. So what have we been up to? Well, we had Easter, which, did I end up doing a chat? I'm not sure. I don't think I've actually spoken to you since Easter. Oh no, maybe I did while we kitted this up last week. That's right, I did it at night. So after Easter, I had my sister come with my 2 nieces, and I've missed them so much. I haven't seen them since early July last year, like the start of July, when Victoria went into lockdown. When they went into their big lockdown, I was actually in Melbourne and got out just before they locked the state down. We were down. Hubby had just lost his job due to COVID, and it was my brother's birthday. We were due to go down. Luckily, we went down a couple of days earlier, and we at least got to see everyone. But it's been a really long time since we relocated to Sydney from Melbourne. I was down every 3 months to visit them, so it's been a really, really long time. And the girls have grown so much. This visit was amazing though, because Mark and my oldest niece, they're 10 weeks apart, so they're very, very close in age. And normally they, you know, there's arguments, because we're together for a couple of days at a time, they kind of get on top of each other and there's arguments. And we live, normally we're in Melbourne at their place, which they've got a much bigger house than what we do. But this time being, we've got a 3-bedroom house, but it's a small 3-bedroom house. It's not big. So we're living on top of each other when there was 6 bodies in the house. And the kids did amazing. There was only one time, and normally it's my niece, but this time it was Mark. He'd had enough. My niece didn't want to do, or his cousin didn't want to do what he wanted to do, and he took himself off to his room for 10 minutes to calm down, and then all was good. Other than that, they played amazing together, which was so, so nice. And my youngest niece, she's just growing. She's like 18 months old, and yeah, she's just a cutie. She's just a cutie. So we had a great time. They got in on Wednesday, and Wednesday afternoon, we did sort of opened Easter presents. I got the girls some little gifts, and we went for a little bit of a walk. And my oldest niece, she lost one of her gifts that I got her. So I'm like, right, I'll go home, start dinner. My sister went for a walk back down. We couldn't find it. There was one point that the pram had got, our footpaths are very narrow, and she must have turned around to talk to one of us, and the pram sort of went, ooh, a little bit on its side. So she thought she might have dropped it there, but she walked back, couldn't find it. I'm like, well, you've lost it. All we can do now is go for a walk tomorrow morning in the daylight, because by now it was dark, and see if we can find it. And what is her luck that we found it not far from home in the morning. I think, like, it can't have been there the night before, because my sister would have literally had to step on it. But we had rain, so I think it might have been off to the side a bit, and the rains pushed it right into the footpath. So we found a gift. She was happy. And we went for a little bit of a walk, because we found it a lot closer to home than we thought. And we're like, well, we've already, like, shoes on the kids out the door, let's go for a little bit of a walk again. So we went for a bit of a walk. And then we live really close to a river, so we got home. I think we'd already had breakfast. We got home and got some snacks together, and we headed down the river, which was nice. We were down there for a couple of hours until the youngest one had had enough. They had a really long day. They left, it took them 12, they were in the car for 12 hours. No, 11 hours. She left at 4 a.m. and got here at 3 p.m. So for 2 young kids, 11 hours is a really long time in the car. And my youngest niece still has a nap during the day, so her naps were thrown out. So when she'd started having enough at the river, we're like, right, let's take you home and you can have a proper nap in the bed and get a good nap in, because, you know, the day before was all thrown out for you. So we did that, and then the kids were just really happy playing. We went outside, they were playing outside, they were doing all sorts of things outside. We were going to try and go somewhere else in the afternoon, but the kids were just so happy. So my sister's like, right, I'm going to chill here. I'm like, okay. So we had a bit of a chat, and then my sister's like, oh, well, if you don't mind, I'm so close to the end of my book. I'm like, no. So I jumped on and did a few things on my phone, and my sister just sat out there with us, and she tried to get towards the end of her book, you know, when you're really close and you just want to finish it. And it ended up being a really nice day. And it was my sister's birthday last month, so I didn't send her anything. I said, look, when you get to Sydney, we'll just take you out. I'll take you out for dinner. So we'd booked in dinner, and we went out for dinner. It was really funny because we got there and my sister's like, ooh, this is a fancy place. I'm like, yeah, it's quite a nice, it's not fancy, but it's quite a nice place. And they ended up bringing our dinner out really quick, and we had a drink, and they brought the dinner out, and I'm like, all right, well, what are we going to do? She's like, well, I'm like, do you want dessert? She's like, well, actually, no, I'd really like a McFlurry from Maccas. We'd parked near Maccas. I'm like, okay, well, we'll go and get a McFlurry for dessert then. And we got that and got home and we were gone about an hour. Like, that was the shortest dinner ever. And she's like, yeah, but I like that because now I've had my dinner, I've had my McFlurry, and I can still be in bed by 9:30. I'm like, okay, well, if you're happy with that. So it was a really, really nice meal. It was just they brought it out quite quickly, which is fine. But I sort of didn't realize, I thought we'd been sitting and talking for a bit longer until I realized we walked out and I'm like, oh, we really haven't been here that long. So then Thursday, that was Thursday we did that. So Friday we just went to the park we went shopping. Oh my God, trying to take 3 kids into a store with toys. That was crazy. So there's a company in Australia called Cake to the Rescue. And she's a lovely lady, Lou, who basically does a cake in a box, but you still bake the cake and you still decorate the cake. But the box comes with everything you need except for your butter and your eggs and your milk. It comes with all the decorations you need to bake a cake. It comes with the box to bake the cake in. It comes with all the icing, all the instructions. Once you buy something from her, you have access to her VIP Facebook group. So if you ever get stuck, she's got lots and lots of videos in there on how to do things. And there's also just a great community of people that if you're stuck, you can just put a post up and someone will help you. It may not be Lou herself, but there's a heap of people that are always willing to help. So it's a great little company, and it's good because sometimes, like the cake that we did needed something like 6 different colors of fondant. And if you were to buy those colors of fondant, it would cost you a lot more, or buy the dyes to dye them. So that was really good. So we made that, and my sister had just got an Easter bunny one, which was for Easter, and then she decided not to cook it at home, and we had a little party for the kids because I'd missed a lot of events in the last however months that we haven't seen each other. We'd missed Easter, we'd missed Christmas, we'd missed birthdays, we'd missed sharing the kids starting to go to school together. Well, they both started school this year. So we had a bit of a party for everything we'd celebrated. So we'd gone shopping in the morning because we're like, oh, it'd be kind of cool if the kids had a present each. Yeah, that wasn't fun. That was a stupid thing to do. We should have gone the night before to Kmart and left the kids home with hubby. That's what we should have done after dinner. We could have gone to Kmart and got the kids presents instead of trying to take them in the morning. That would have been a much smarter idea. Anyway, so we got the kids presents and we baked the cake and then we decorated the cake. And so we'd only had the park in the morning, and then by the time hubby got home and finished work, we ended up having a little bit of a party. We had some dancing. We did some egg and spoon races. The kids opened their presents, and then we went and got fish and chips. So we all jumped in our shoes and the pram and got everyone ready and walked down to the fish and chip shop, and that was all good. The kids were playing while we ordered until one of them ran into a pole and hurt themselves. But that's okay. So we had fish and chips for dinner, and then we had cake for dessert, and the kids were really happy. They really loved it. So that was kind of nice to do, like let's just all celebrate together and do something. So we did that. And then Saturday we went to the zoo, which is Mark's absolute favourite thing to do. He loves going to the zoo. And my sister had never been to the Sydney Taronga Zoo, which it's a great zoo. Hang on, I'm just going to drink. But what's even better is the fact of its location. So when you're walking through the zoo, you can see Sydney Harbour, you can see the Opera House, you can see that Sydney Harbour Bridge. And it's just a really, really pleasant, like, stroll in the garden and see some animals at the same time. So it's a really, really nice zoo to go to. So we went and did the bird show. We didn't do the seal show, but the bird show's just got a great view. Unfortunately, being school holidays, I think they shortened the bird show, which kind of sucked because we got there like half an hour early to get a seat, which was fine because I'd said to my sister, look, normally we get there, we see some animals, we go and sit down at the bird show, get there early, get the seats that we want, and then we can just sit and eat. And that's kind of like our break. And then, oh, sorry, I keep hitting the table. Once we've had a break, we see the bird show and keep going. Well, yeah, the bird show was a little bit shorter than what it normally is. And I think they just shortened it for the school holidays because I noticed we thought we'd miss the seal show was going to be too far away, and then we walked past it and they were doing it, and then I realised that we'd missed a sign on the way in to say that they were doing extra shows being the school holidays. We don't normally go during the school holidays or a weekend during the school holidays. So that was good. We did that and the kids loved it, and they got went to the gift shop and they got little toys each, and I got myself a new pen. I think I've got it here somewhere. I love it. It just says Taronga Zoo, but it's got like a little dangly thing that's got some animals on it. So it's all a bit sparkly and colourful. It's very similar to my diamond painting pen. So I got myself a pen. I don't normally buy myself something. And then we'd kind of been munching all day, but we hadn't really had, like the kids had had heaps to eat, but the adults, we hadn't had a lot to eat. So we went to Maccas on the way home, and poor Mark fell asleep, and I'm like, we were following hubby, so I jumped in my sister's car to drive home with her, because Sydney yet again is just a whole nother experience driving compared to Melbourne. You know, you really have to be in the right lane because lanes change. And anyway, so I went home with my sister. I'm like, I think Mark's fallen asleep already because I didn't see a Happy Meal come out of the window at the drive-through. So we got home. We actually, instead of taking because we took the tunnels there in the morning, on the way home, we drove over the harbour bridge to get home. So that was kind of cool. And I could talk to my niece about it. I'm like, you know that your mummy's climbed the harbour bridge? I just dropped some. Oh well. So that was pretty cool. So, and then we got home and Mark was just devastated because he missed his Happy Meal. He missed his Maccas. So I'm like, look, mate, it's no time for Maccas now. It's almost dinner time. I will take you once my sister and my cousins go home. Whoops. I will take you to Maccas and you can play in the playground, and we'll go next week once I've gone home. So he was kind of happy with that eventually. Trust me, he didn't let me forget it. So that was really nice. And then Sunday, if you've watched any of my past Whip and Chats, also welcome to any new members that have subscribed. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoy. We had come across these sculptured koalas in Port Macquarie, and these school holidays they brought them to Campbelltown, which is about 45-minute drive from home. So Sunday we went on the koala hunt. So there's over 70 koalas altogether up in the Port Macquarie area, and they've brought 22 of them down to the Campbelltown area. And Mark was just over the moon to actually go and see the koalas and take his cousin to see the koalas, because he wanted to take his nana to see them, and I'm like, we can't, mate, it's a 5-hour drive away. So to take his cousin to see the koalas, which reminds me I need to go and print off photos to send to Nana. so that she's got photos of both the kids with the rest of the koalas. So it was really good. There was quite a few that we hadn't seen already. There was a couple that we'd already seen, but there was quite a few we hadn't seen, which was really nice. And that was a nice day. It was at the Botanical Gardens, and we just went for a wander around. And then we went out for lunch. Went to just a local pub afterwards, and the kids were knackered and they were happy. They got to have ice cream. And we had, it was quite a nice, it was a pub meal. It wasn't anything fancy, but it was nice. I had the salmon. It was really yummy. So that was a big adventure. And then they headed off. She was meant to head off at about 4 a.m. on Monday morning. And I woke up at 4 and I'm like, no, they're long gone. I haven't even heard them. Apparently she didn't have a very good night's sleep. So she headed off at like 3:30 in the morning. But she's much prefers to drive in the morning than in the afternoon, where I'm quite happy to drive in the afternoon. So that's all right. They made it home safe, and now we just have to wait for the next lot of school holidays to hopefully catch up with them again. Mark got his promised Maccas trip on Monday. I'm like, right, the kids are gone home. It's been a crazy, crazy 5 days. I'm exhausted. We've still got to clean the house up a bit. Mind you, we did a fair big tidy Sunday afternoon once we got home. Hubby took the kids outside, where my sister and I just went through the house, went through each room and packed up what we could and tidied. So I just had washing to do on Monday. So I took Mark up to the local Maccas and he got to play in the playground. And he had his first ever McFlurry, which he was just so super excited about. He had the M&M's one. He's like, oh, it's got baby M&M's in it. So he loved it. So he's all ice creamed out. He's just very excited. And then we had, I think Tuesday as well, we kind of just chilled around the house because it had been an exhausting few days. I'm like, let's just chill. And then, what did we do Wednesday? We've been doing a few crafts. Mark's all of a sudden decided that he likes drawing and he likes colouring in and he likes all that kind of stuff. So we've been doing lots of crafts, which is absolutely fine with me, especially since I got another Riot Art delivery. So that was cool because they have lots of, when their kits are on sale, they have lots of really cheap kits for the kids. And it's great for entertaining him for a little bit. So we've been doing lots of crafts. Mark did a bit of paint pouring. Went out and did some paint pouring the other day, which he really liked. And he's like, oh, I've got to make one for Papa and I've got to make one for you. And I've got to make another one for my room. And my niece actually really liked it. She was really funny. So I took her out into the garage. We had to get something. Can't remember what we were getting. Hang on. Someone's just started their lawnmower. I might just shut the door. I can't remember what we were getting, but we went out into the garage and I'm like, oh, and she saw my paint pouring out there. I'm like, would you like it? She's like, yes. So she's like, can you write your name on it? So I signed the back of it for her and she took home her own bit of paint pouring that I'd done. But she was so funny because her daddy's a builder. He's a cabinet maker. And he's like, oh, she goes out there and because it's where like all my paints and everything except my sewing machine's out there. And she's like, oh, she loved my desk. She's like, I'm going to get daddy to build me a desk like this. I love all your stuff. So she was very excited. And we get back inside and she's like, I'm like, well, where are you going to put your desk? You don't have much space in your room left. She's like, no, that's okay. I can move this and I can move that and I'm going to move this and I'm going to move that. And she'd already worked out in her head where she's moving everything so that she can fit her desk in. And probably because Mark's got a desk in his play area too now. So, sorry to my brother-in-law, but your daughter wants a desk. Guess you better build her one. So it'll be interesting to see if she has a new desk by the time I get back down to see them. I don't actually think I'll be in Melbourne until Christmas, which is going to be a really, really, really long time. Because I was talking to my sister about catching up in the next lot of school holidays, and she's actually away with a few friends, which is actually closer to where I am now, and I might just crash their party there. They're going away for 4 days, and the 4 days works perfect with us, and I think we might just go there instead of going all the way to Melbourne, which sucks because there's a few babies I still haven't met that will definitely not be babies by the time I get to see them. But it would be really nice to not drive the whole distance to Melbourne. But it does mean that I'll probably miss catching up with my mum, but I'm sure she can come and visit us if she wants. So it's been pretty full on. And then yesterday we just went up to Cronulla and they had a kids sand art thing, which is where you just peel back part of the picture and it's got like sticky adhesive underneath and you pour sand over it. And Mark was like, "Mummy, look what we've created. We've created a masterpiece." So he really enjoyed doing it. I'm so glad he's getting excited about doing his crafts because his mummy likes it. And it's always been a bit like, you know, most kids by like 2, 3, you can sit them down with a colouring book and some pencils or textures and they're quite content for a little bit. But he's just never, ever been like that way until now. And now he's actually wanting to colour and do things. So it's a little bit exciting. I can finally get through some of all the craft kits that I've been buying him. So... and I enjoy sitting down doing crafts with him as well. Oh, that's what we did one afternoon. I had a heap of plaster things, like these kind of things that you paint. So we sat and did a heap. The kids did 3 or 4 each, and my sister and I did 1 each. And then Mark sat down the other day and he did his dinosaur. And he did this. I think he needs to do a little bit more. It's a school bus that you're meant to put photos in. So he painted them the other day. He's like, "I'm making this shelf over here just for all my artwork so that we can display it." I'm like, okay. All right. I guess that's what that shelf's for now. So yeah, he's enjoying it. And the kids, we played some board games. We played Cluedo Junior. So I don't know if you got kids, if there's any games, board games you recommend. Where we love our board games. Well, I love my board games. And I'm really liking, we've got Cluedo Junior, Risk Junior, Game of Life Junior, and Monopoly Junior. I'm not sure if there's any others in the range of the Junior series, but the ones that we've got are really good. The Cluedo, Mark hasn't quite played on his own yet. He still needed a bit of help. But I think he's played it a few times now that the next time we play, I said, you know, mate, next time we play, you're going to do that all on your own. And he's getting the hang of it. It's probably for a little bit older than him. But I really like how they've adjusted the rules and the gameplay to be easier for a young child to understand. And it means I still get to play my Monopoly. Just the junior version. We've got the Junior Shrek Monopoly as well, and that one's a little bit more, the Junior Monopoly is simple. The Junior Monopoly Shrek is a little bit more complicated in the fact that it uses, what am I trying to say? It uses different denominations of money, or, you know, Monopoly money. So Monopoly Junior is just singles, just ones, where the Shrek Monopoly Junior has, I can't remember exactly what the denominations are, but it has like a 5 and a 1 and a 2, I think. So it gets them counting a little bit more. I think my pen needs a refill. I thought I should probably pull out my fancy waxes, but I'm kind of just enjoying using the normal wax That's crazy. I'm using the Diamond Dots wax at the moment from the Diamond Dots brand. And purely because I'd opened a kit and I finished the other one and that was next to me. But I do like that it comes in like a little container so it doesn't dry out. And I actually, when I go to a wax, I actually use all of it. Like I keep molding it until I use all of it. And then the little container that I used before for the last wax, I'm using for all the extra bits that come off your pen. You know, all those extra little bits of wax that are kicking around. So, like, that was the end of the blue wax that I used. Like, I used it right down to that. So I'm just keeping the other little diamond. Oh, that didn't go back in the case. For all the bits of extra that I've got around. But I think my pen needs a bit of a refill. I have found I'm using the Everlasting Tips on this, which is from Etsy. If you just type in Everlasting Tips, and I love them, but they do say do not use metal tweezers to clean them out. So I was using a toothpick and that went okay, but maybe I just finished these ones and then I might just show you, there's just a couple more orange, and then I might just show you how I clean my pen out. So the 4-placer is definitely easier to clean out than the tip. The tip is a little bit harder. You can get a toothpick in there, just a wooden toothpick. The reason they say don't use like your pointy nose tweezers is because they're metal and it can scratch the stainless steel, and you don't want to be scratching your good places. Let me just get a couple more. You see any more crosses? And I'll show you how I clean my pen out and how I refill it. Okay, I think that is all of them. Almost finished this section. See, this is why I like doing sections, because you get that little bit of satisfaction, and I just spilt them everywhere. All right, I'm just going to pick up that tin that I threw away before. Where did it go? Alright, I'll show you how I clean out my pen. So I've got my 2 containers. So I've got those, you know, those cheap, the plastic tweezers that are not very good. They did have a longer tip and I've bent them off. But I find they're really good for cleaning out the tip of your pen. Now let's see if I can get you in focus. So for the back of it, look, most of that wax is probably good. And you could probably just move it around in there. But I do also have a lot of wax. So, look, I didn't quite get all the blue out when I changed over to pink. I just get the tweezers and push it down in there. So that's really... let's see if you can see that. That's pretty clear in there. There's a little bit of wax, but I'm not going to worry. And then all I do into my wax, and I just give it a bit of a push down and then run my finger across the top to get any extra wax off. And that's why I use my little pot here, or else you end up with wax everywhere. Okay, let's see if it'll focus. There you go. It's all in there now. Now this one's a little bit trickier, but I basically just push the tip of my tweezers in. Now I'm not going to get all the wax out because the tip of these tweezers is gone. It's broken from doing this, but you get a fair amount out. You see there? And then I just do the same. Just push it in and my pen's ready to go. So you do have to fill it up a little bit more than what you do with some of your specialty waxes, but that doesn't bother me. Sometimes I just like the break to fill my pen. And then you're back to go again. So I think that might be enough of me just chit-chatting today. I'm hoping to do a trip up to the hills this week. I've got to go and check out the property up there. We've had people staying up there. So I'll be doing that. I'm going to have to be careful with these arrows here because I've just noticed some are down and some are across. So they've got two blue down. Yeah, there's a blue across and a blue down. They're slightly different colouring. But that is my Russia with love. So I hope you all have a lovely week. Welcome again to all the new subscribers. And I'll see you all in the next video. Take care for now. Bye.